Hello, true believers. Welcome to my channel, Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave, and today I have 5 more undervalued comic books for us to look at. Alright, so the first book on my list, it's a modern book. It comes from 2007. Yes, 2007. And it is the Avengers Initiative Annual #1. Why is this book important? Because this is the first book of Secret Invasion. Now, there's a lot of scenes in these MCU movies that are leading me to believe in Secret Invasion. Whether it's the big overall premise or whether it'll be like a subplot for a few movies. We've seen Skrulls impersonating high level people like Nick Fury and stuff in the movies. Are they leading to a Secret Invasion storyline? Underlying one, maybe, something that's going to keep us going for the next, however many years till we get to our final story arc with the overall MCU, right? And this book, seems to be flying under the radar and that people aren't catching on to Secret Invasion. I mean, I don't know. It must seem obvious to you, right? And this is the first book of that, and you can see here, I paid $4. I don't know how clear that is on the camera. Anyways, I paid $4. That's what the cover price was originally. Right, so I'm still paying cover price for this. There are several copies in the LCS that I bought it from for cheap, but it's the first Secret Invasion, right? And if this does end up tying into a big movie storyline, I think that this book could definitely see a bump. So, from 2007, first Secret Invasion, Avengers The Initiative, Annual #1 from 2007, first Secret Invasion. And look to pay cover price or less for this book right now at any place you can find it. I found it in a couple places now. All right, start buying cheap copies of that one. Now, to tie in with that book, of course, it comes out in 2008, another modern book, and that's Secret Invasion #1. Right, so the first book starts the story arc, but the book's not all about that, right? This is the one that really starts that whole Secret Invasion story arc. And again, this book can be found for cover price or less. I've seen this book in cheap bins before. I've seen it at cheaper shows and in dollar bins, right? It's not a hard book to get, and it's worth, I think, picking up the whole run, and it's not a bad read at that, right? It's kind of cool. And if you know your Secret Invasion, you're going to see how it's starting to really tie into the movies, right? So I think this book could see a bump if that, realizes as a whole story arc. The first time they have a movie title, Secret Invasion, or anything like that, this book should see quite a healthy bump. Okay, so 2008, Secret Invasion #1. Look to pay cover price or less for this book, which is about $4. All right, so we're going to go a little further forward. We're going to do another modern book. I don't often do huge amounts of modern books, but that's okay because this one I like a lot. And it's from 2018, and it's the Exiles #3. And this is the first Peggy Carter as Captain America. And that's important because apparently in the new animated series that's coming up, or What If, Peggy Carter, one of the stories is what if Peggy Carter became Captain America? And this is her first appearance as Captain America. Right, so once that story, that all those what if stories have fully been revealed of what they are, and I'm not sure how Disney's going to do that, but this is a pretty confident rumor, a pretty strong rumor about one of the stories that's coming in the What If series. And yeah, so if that pans out, again, this book can be found in cheap bins. It can be found online or anything for cover price or less. Okay, and that's going to have a brand new movie tie-in. Right, first time we see some trailers and Peggy Carter with that Captain America shield. Even though it's not fully continuity, it's still going to pique people's interest in this book. And it should see a bit of a spike. Easy find. All right, let's go to the Bronze Age. So we all know Galactus is coming to the MCU. Has to. They've been rumoring about it. Everybody wants it. Kevin Feige said some stuff about it. The Russo brothers have alluded to it. James Gunn has said stuff about Galactus and Adam Warlock, right? So there's some teases out there. There's some rumors out there. There's a lot of fan push for it, which Disney does do a lot of fan you know pandering to fans in their movies and stuff, which guess what? That pays off, right? They don't have billions of dollars in their bank account because that doesn't work. People love being pandered to in the movies. If I go to see a movie, I don't want to see Galactus as a cloud. I want to see Galactus, right? I don't want to see shit like that, right? Sorry, don't make your villain in a movie a cloud. It's dumb. Anyway, we all know Galactus is coming. He's bringing his Herald Silver Surfer with him. They got to. I mean, the two of them have been linked together since the very beginning of both of these characters. Their first appearance for each of these characters is in the same book, Fantastic Four 48. So when these characters show up, they'll probably be linked together at first, but the storyline has always been that the Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad, breaks away from Galactus and becomes his own person, the Silver Surfer, doing his own adventures and his own things, not just heralding for Galactus. So Galactus replaces this person, right? And I think it's a fair bet that they'll replace the Silver Surfer with a new herald, most likely in the very first appearance of them, right? They'll come in together. By the end of that movie, they'll be separate. And even if they come in different ways, I don't know how they'll do it. Anyway, when he replaces his herald, when Galactus replaces his herald, I'm starting to collect herald appearances because I think it's a good bet. And one of the heralds that I like is from Fantastic Four number 120. It's from 1972, Bronze Age, and it is the first appearance of Airwalker. So Airwalker, he's not a major character, but he's no slouch. He's been in lots of books over the years, and he's a known character. His first appearance, maybe he's not the most popular herald after the Silver Surfer, but he does have a lot of tiebacks to what's going on in the movies now, right? Like Gabriel Land is his name, but he has ties back to the Nova Corps and Xandar, right? He was part of the Nova Corps. They could easily tie him into, this guy wants some sort of power to be able to avenge Xandar after Thanos did it. I don't know how they're going to bring in the Nova Corps in the traditional sense of Nova, but so he does have tiebacks to the movie. They could easily put him in there. This is a hard book to get in really high grade because of this black. Right, you can see the spine ticks there. There's a few. Still decent collectible condition. It's not ratch totally. But that's a good first appearance. I paid $25 for this issue of the Fantastic Four number 120. Look to pay around the same, maybe a little more, as more people speculate on what kind of heralds Galactus might bring with him. Another good spec book is Fantastic Four 211, which is the first appearance of Terrax. I don't have a copy of that. I thought I had a copy of that. I've actually passed on a few copies of that over the last while, thinking that I had it already. I don't, but that's fine. I will at one point. I have no doubt about that. So that's one of the ones that are now on my hunt list, 211. But then there's this book, and this book I really believe is the herald that's going to replace whoever the Silver Surfer if he gets replaced. And that first appearance is the first appearance of Nova, not Nova from the Nova Corps Xandar, but Nova, the Herald of Galactus. And her first appearance is Fantastic Four number 244. Right, so this is Frankie Ray Nova. She goes on to be the Herald of Galactus. She's not as cool as the Silver Surfer. She causes the death of like billions of people, including going to the Skrull homeworld, leading Galactus to the Skrull homeworld or throne world, and devouring that. right? Almost killing the Emperor of the Skulls. Um, what's the planet's name? Tarnax 4. Anyway, um, she like I said, she kind of turns over a new leaf. Silver Surfer talks her into being a nicer person. However, her first appearance, she's a human being, right? So again, that ties her back to Earth, right? If Galactus is somehow coming to Earth in a way, she's dynamic. She's well drawn. I like the fire aspect of her character. The fire aspect of her character really comes from, and I'll just show you quick. We've speculated on this book before. This book is from, hey, 1970. Anyways, this is the Fantastic Four number 164. We speculated that on the first appearance of Crusader. However, it's also the first appearance of Frankie Ray before she becomes the Herald. Her dad is the guy that, what's his name? Phineas Horton. Yeah, her dad is Phineas Horton. And if you go way back to the Golden Age to Marvel Comics number 1, the first Human Torch, Toro, that is who Phineas Horton created. So Phineas Horton was really upset about the Fantastic Four and the Human Torch and that, using his name, and gave Frankie Ray torch powers, and then had this weird story about hypnotizing her not to remember. Anyways, Galactus makes Nova into kind of a flaming Herald, and I've got 2 copies here. I got the newsstand, I got the direct edition. I believe there's some other different kind of variants. John Byrne, really nice collectible John Byrne book as well. I believe Metarog is one of the gentlemen that recommended this book to me. I totally 100% agree. If she shows up as the second Herald of Galactus after the Silver Surfer, expect to see this book and this book. Both take jumps in price, right? You can see there. Clearance $4.95, but I believe I paid 30% less than that. That was what they were on clearance, but 30% off that, so about $3 for that one. Expect to pay a buck or two right now for this book, $2.44, maybe even up to $5 if it's a really nice one. Like I said, you can look for different variants. The newsstand, there's I believe a Canadian price variant that I have to find as well, and yeah, if she shows up, man, this book is gonna jump out of the dollar bins onto the LCS wall for 20-30 bucks right out of the gate. All right, so that's Fantastic Four number 244. It is from 1982. All right, it's from 1982. And it is the first appearance of Frankie Ray as Nova, the Herald of Galactus. Like I said, look to pay a buck or two right now for it, maybe up to $5. If you go on eBay, you might find some that are overpriced. Anyways, shouldn't be too hard of a book to find. I found them relatively easy. I come across them once in a while. I'm going to start buying any one I see from now on, that's for sure. So this has been Mr. Miracle Comics, and that is 5 more undervalued books for us this week. I appreciate your view. I appreciate your thumbs up, like. Please join me for another video next time. Just reminding you, a day without comic books is like night. Alright, we'll see you next video.